The spotlight hit her, a blinding white disk against the vast, cavernous darkness of the arena. A ripple of sound, a collective gasp, swept through the thousands gathered, their anticipation a tangible hum in the air. Then she appeared, a shimmering apparition emerging from the shadows, her silhouette bold and unmistakable. It wasn't just an entrance. It was a statement. Her costume, a dazzling rebellion of sequins and feathers, seemed to defy gravity, an extension of the defiant spirit that had defined her for decades. For a moment, she simply stood there, regal and unyielding, a solitary figure against the roar of the crowd, absorbing the adoration that had been her constant companion for over half a century. This was Cher Sarkeesian, known to the world by a single, powerful moniker, Cher. Her public perception was a kaleidoscope of reinventions, a chrysalis shedding one skin only to emerge in another, more spectacular form. She was the bohemian folk rocker of the 60s, intertwined with Sonny Bono, their innocent duets masking a complex, often tumultuous partnership. She transformed into the glamorous variety show queen of the 70s, commanding primetime television with her quick wit and dazzling Bob Mackie creations. Then came the gritty actress of the 80s, shedding her pop persona to earn critical acclaim and an Academy Award, proving her depth beyond the stage. And just when the world thought they had her figured out, she reinvented herself yet again, conquering the dance charts with an auto-tuned anthem in the 90s, becoming a symbol of resilience and enduring pop power. Yet despite the dazzling array of public guises, a core enigma has always surrounded her. Who was the woman behind the costumes, the wit, the unwavering survival instinct? Was she the insecure girl from humble beginnings, still battling the ghosts of her past? Or was she the unshakable force, the ultimate survivor, who simply refused to fade away? The world saw the bold pronouncements, the fearless fashion, the seemingly effortless reinventions. They saw the dazzling smile, the iconic long hair, the defiant glint in her eyes. But beneath the layers of carefully constructed personas, behind the unwavering gaze, lay a narrative far more intricate, perhaps more vulnerable, than the world ever truly grasped. Her longevity was not just a testament to talent, but to an iron will forged in the crucible of early hardship and relentless reinvention. This was not merely the story of a singer or an actress, it was the saga of a phoenix, a woman who repeatedly rose from the ashes of expectation, defying every label, every setback, and every attempt to define her. We embark now on a journey into that extraordinary, often challenging existence, seeking to understand the woman behind the singular name, the quiet revolutionary who dared to be utterly, magnificently herself, always pushing the boundaries of what was possible, not just for herself, but for generations who watched her soar. It is a story of profound resilience, fierce independence, unyielding determination, and ultimately, a powerful voice that refused to be silenced, echoing through decades of cultural change. On May 20th, 1946, amidst the sun-drenched yet often harsh landscape of El Centro, California, a star was born, though few could have predicted the incandescent path she would forge. Her full birth name was Cher Sarkeesian, a name that hinted at her rich, diverse heritage. Her mother, Georgia Holt, was a striking woman, a struggling actress and model with a restless spirit and an undeniable charm. Georgia was of Cherokee, English, German, and Irish ancestry, a kaleidoscope of backgrounds that contributed to Cher's exotic beauty and independent streak. Her father, John Sarkeesian, was an Armenian-American truck driver, a man with a troubled past marked by addiction and an intermittent presence in Cheryl's life. His nomadic profession and personal demons meant he was often absent, leaving Georgia to navigate the precarious waters of single motherhood with fierce determination. The family background was anything but stable. Cheryl's early childhood was a blur of transient homes, financial insecurity, and a constant search for stability. Georgia, despite her own struggles, instilled in Cherylin a resilience and a drive for self-reliance. There were times when the family, including Sherilyn's younger half-sister, Jorgane Lapierre, faced true poverty, relying on welfare and bouncing between apartments, never truly settling. This peripatetic existence, far from grounding Cherilyn, fostered in her a deep yearning for a place where she belonged, a stage where she could truly shine. She was a shy, almost painfully insecure child, often feeling like an outsider due to her striking appearance and her unconventional family life. Her dark Armenian features stood out in the predominantly blonde, blue-eyed California landscape, and she often felt ostracized. This early sense of being different, of not quite fitting in, would paradoxically become a driving force for her later embracing of individuality. Cherilyn showed early signs of her unique traits and burgeoning talents. Even as a child, she possessed an innate theatricality, often staging elaborate performances for her mother and sister, using blankets as costumes and singing into makeshift microphones. Her voice, even then, carried a distinctive, husky timbre, a low alto that was unlike any other. She struggled in school, finding the traditional academic setting stifling and uninspiring. Her undiagnosed dyslexia made learning a challenge, and she often felt misunderstood by teachers. The socio-economic environment she grew up in was one of working-class struggle, a stark contrast to the glitz and glamour that would later define her life. There were no ambiguities about her age or identity. She was simply Cherilyn, a girl with an extraordinary voice and an unshakable dream, even if that dream was still vaguely defined. Her initial exposure to the world of entertainment came through her mother's persistent efforts in Hollywood. Georgia, though never achieving the widespread fame she sought, opened Cherilyn's eyes to the possibilities of show business. Cherilyn, still a teenager, became infatuated with the idea of becoming a star. She often spoke of being inspired by Audrey Hepburn, dreaming of a life beyond her impoverished reality. The state of the industry in the late 1950s and early 1960s was one of transition, moving from the golden age of Hollywood into the burgeoning rock and roll era. Opportunities for young, unconventional talents were scarce, and the hurdles were immense. Cherilyn's early motivations were simple yet profound: to escape poverty, to find a sense of belonging, and to express the burgeoning creativity that simmered within her. She worked odd jobs, saved what little money she could, and harbored an unwavering belief that her destiny lay beyond the confines of El Centro. She knew, with an almost prophetic certainty, that she was meant for something more, a stage far grander than her childhood living room. It was a fierce, almost desperate ambition that propelled her forward, a silent promise whispered to herself under the vast California sky. The journey from a shy, impoverished teenager to a global icon was an arduous, often heartbreaking path for Cherilyn Sarkeesian, a testament to her unyielding resilience. Her early struggles were not merely financial, they were deeply personal, rooted in a profound sense of inadequacy and the constant battle against societal expectations. She arrived in Los Angeles in the early 1960s, a wide-eyed girl with a distinctive voice and an unconventional look, immediately encountering the brutal indifference of the Hollywood machine. Discrimination wasn't overt, but it existed in the industry's unspoken rules. She didn't fit the mold of the polished all-American girl. Her dark hair, her unconventional features, and her distinct low voice were seen as liabilities rather than assets. She faced countless rejections, doors slammed in her face, and dismissive remarks about her appearance and vocal style. Poverty remained a persistent shadow, forcing her to take odd jobs, including dancing in clubs and working as a session singer, just to survive. She often recounted stories of living on meager means, sometimes even sleeping in cars or on friends' couches. This period was marked by a relentless effort to break into the music industry, attending auditions, making connections, and tirelessly honing her craft. She absorbed everything, learning about studio production, songwriting, and the intricacies of the entertainment world through sheer osmosis and an insatiable curiosity. It was during these lean years that she met Sonny Bono, a chance encounter that would forever alter the trajectory of her life. Sonny, an aspiring record producer and songwriter, saw something in Cherilyn that others missed: a raw, unpolished talent, a unique voice, and an undeniable charisma that he believed he could shape into stardom. Their partnership began as a professional collaboration, with Sonny writing songs for Cherylin and teaching her about the music business. He became her mentor, her manager, and eventually her husband. They faced formidable obstacles as a duo. Record labels were initially hesitant, unsure how to market their unconventional sound and image. Their early singles flopped, leading to crushing disappointments and moments of despair. Yet, they possessed a stubborn determination, a refusal to give up. Their breakthrough moment arrived in 1965 with I Got You, Babe. It was a simple folk pop anthem, a duet that perfectly captured the zeitgeist of the era, and it soared to the top of the charts, catapulting Cher into overnight stardom. The song's easy charm, their bohemian look, and their undeniable chemistry resonated deeply with a generation searching for authenticity. Public and critical reception was immediate and overwhelming. They became instant pop sensations, beloved for their playful banter, their matching outfits, and Cher's distinctive voice. Suddenly, the shy, insecure girl was a household name. Their ascent was meteoric, leading to sold-out concerts, television appearances, and a flurry of new recordings. This rising fame had a profound impact on Cherylin's personal life. The grinding poverty of her youth was replaced by unimaginable wealth, but it also brought an intense public scrutiny she was ill-prepared for. Every aspect of their relationship, their fashion choices, even their arguments, became tabloid fodder. Her family, once distant due to their own struggles, now looked to her as a source of support and stability. The sudden shift from obscurity to global recognition was exhilarating but also disorienting, stripping away the last vestiges of her private life and forcing her into a spotlight that would never truly dim. She embraced the fame with a mix of awe and trepidation, a woman still learning to navigate the dizzying heights of her newfound celebrity, never forgetting the hungry years that had preceded it. Cherylin Sarkisian's journey through the labyrinth of romantic entanglements was as dramatic and transformative as her career, often played out on the public stage with an almost theatrical intensity. Her relationships were not mere dalliances. They were powerful forces that shaped her personal narrative, fueled her creative output, and frequently became fodder for a ravenous tabloid culture. The most defining of these was her complex, almost symbiotic bond with Sonny Bono. Their love story began in obscurity, a mentorship that blossomed into romance, leading to marriage in 1964. Sonny was not just her husband, he was her Svengali, her protector, her creative partner, who meticulously crafted their public image. Their dynamic was one of deep love, undeniable chemistry, and ultimately, a power imbalance that would sow the seeds of their eventual undoing. He was the confident visionary, she the often insecure muse. The public adored their innocent image, the harmonious folk duo who sang about love and togetherness. Behind the scenes, however, their relationship was far from the idyllic picture painted on television. Sonny, while instrumental in her success, exerted immense control over Cher's life and finances, often treating her more like an employee than an equal partner. She later spoke of feeling stifled, her own burgeoning artistic independence suppressed. Their marriage was punctuated by intense arguments, financial woes, and Sonny's alleged infidelities, all carefully hidden from the public eye. The societal context of the late 1960s and early 1970s, while evolving, still placed immense pressure on public figures to maintain a facade of domestic bliss. Divorce, especially for celebrities, carried a significant stigma. As their musical success waned, they transitioned into television with the Sonny Cher Comedy Hour, a move that ironically highlighted their on-screen chemistry while their personal relationship crumbled backstage. Their 1974 divorce was a public spectacle, messy and emotionally draining, exposing the raw wounds of a partnership that had defined them both for a decade. Cher's testimony in court, detailing Sonny's financial control, shocked the public and revealed the darker undercurrents of their seemingly perfect union. She confessed, "I couldn't have any money. I couldn't do anything." The emotional toll was immense, It was not just the end of a marriage, but the severing of a creative and personal identity she had known for so long. Following her tumultuous split from Sonny, Cher embarked on a series of high-profile relationships that further cemented her image as a bold, independent woman. Her brief, passionate marriage to rock star Greg Allman of the Allman Brothers Band in 1975 was a whirlwind of rock and roll excess and deep emotional connection. Their union was volatile, fueled by intense passion and marred by Allman's struggles with addiction. Cher filed for divorce just 9 days after their wedding, citing his drug use, but they reconciled multiple times, a testament to their powerful, yet ultimately destructive, bond. Their son, Elijah Blue Allman, was born from this tumultuous relationship. The tabloids feasted on their every move, portraying Cher as a wild, untamed spirit, drawn to the dangerous allure of rock stars. Her most publicly scrutinized liaison was with rock icon Gene Simmons of Kiss, a relationship that lasted several years in the late 1970s and early 1980s. Their pairing seemed unlikely, the flamboyant showman and the glamorous diva, yet it was characterized by a genuine affection and mutual respect. Despite Simmons's notorious playboy image, Cher navigated these relationships with a fierce independence, refusing to be defined by her partners, always emerging stronger and more self-possessed. She had brief but widely reported romances with a string of younger men in the 1980s, including Val Kilmer and Tom Cruise, earning her the playful moniker Cougar and further solidifying her image as a woman who defied societal expectations about age and romance. These relationships, despite their public nature and often dramatic conclusions, were vital to Cher's evolution. They pushed her, challenged her, and often provided the raw material for her powerful, emotionally charged performances and lyrics. Each entanglement, whether triumphant or heartbreaking, contributed to her narrative of resilience, a woman who loved fiercely, lived without apology, and always found a way to reclaim her own narrative, even when the world tried to define her by the men in her life. She was a survivor of heartbreak, always ready to rebuild, always ready to redefine herself. The zenith of Sherilyn Sarkeesian's career was less a singular peak and more a continuous, breathtaking ascent, a testament to her unparalleled ability to reinvent herself across multiple decades and artistic disciplines. Her public persona, meticulously crafted yet deeply authentic, evolved with the times, always reflecting her unyielding spirit and her refusal to be confined by any single label. The 1970s saw her emerge from the shadow of Sonny Bono to become the undeniable queen of television variety. The Sonny Cher Comedy Hour, and later The Cher Show, solidified her as a household name, admired not just for her powerful voice but for her quick wit, her self-deprecating humor, and her dazzling Bob Mackie gowns. These shows were a visual spectacle, a weekly fashion parade, with Cher as the glamorous, mischievous ringmaster. She projected an image of approachable glamour, a superstar who could still crack a joke at her own expense, making her relatable to millions. But it was in the 1980s that Cher truly astonished the world, reinventing herself as a serious, dramatic actress. She shed the sequins and pop melodies to embrace gritty, challenging roles that showcased a depth no one expected. Her role in Silkwood, 1983, opposite Meryl Streep, earned her a Golden Globe Award and an Academy Award nomination, announcing her arrival as a legitimate actress. This was followed by powerful performances in films like Mask, 1985, where she played a biker mom to a son with craniodiaphyseal dysplasia, for which she earned widespread critical acclaim. The culmination of this acting renaissance came with Moonstruck, 1987, a romantic comedy that captured hearts worldwide and earned her the Academy Award for Best Actress. This moment, accepting her Oscar in a daring, revealing Bob Mackie creation, was iconic, a defiant gesture that celebrated her individuality and silenced any lingering doubts about her talent. She was not just a singer who could act, she was a bona fide movie star. During this period, scenes of Cher at work revealed her unwavering dedication. On film sets, she was known for her professionalism, her intense focus, and her ability to immerse herself fully in character. Directors praised her raw honesty and her willingness to push boundaries. She approached acting with the same meticulousness she applied to her music, studying scripts, developing her characters, and delivering performances that resonated with emotional truth. Even interacting with fans and colleagues, she maintained a grounded, often humorous demeanor, a stark contrast to the larger-than-life characters she portrayed. She possessed an innate ability to connect, whether on a grand stage or in a quiet conversation. Her cultural impact during her peak was immense and multifaceted. As a musical artist, she consistently pushed the boundaries of pop, folk, and rock, refusing to be confined by genre. She influenced fashion, making daring, unconventional styles mainstream and inspiring generations to embrace self-expression through clothing. As an actress, she proved that pop stars could indeed be serious artists, paving the way for countless musicians to transition into film. She represented female empowerment and resilience, a woman who had navigated the tumultuous waters of fame, divorce, and professional setbacks, always emerging stronger and more defiant. She became a symbol of reinvention, a living embodiment of the idea that one could constantly evolve, shed old skins, and embrace new possibilities, regardless of age or past perceptions. Her enduring appeal lay in her authenticity. She was fiercely independent, unapologetically herself, and she spoke her mind, earning her a unique place in the hearts of millions. Cher didn't just adapt to cultural trends, she set them, leaving an indelible mark on music, film, and fashion that continues to inspire and entertain. She was, and remains, an icon of reinvention, a true cultural phenomenon. Beneath the glittering costumes and the defiant public persona, Cherilyn Sarkisian harbored a rich, often turbulent, secret personal life, a world of inner conflicts and vulnerabilities that rarely pierced the carefully constructed facade. She was, despite her powerful stage presence, an intensely private individual, grappling with a profound sense of insecurity that stemmed from her transient childhood and a lifelong struggle with perceived inadequacy. The pressure to constantly reinvent herself, to stay relevant in an ever-changing industry, fueled an underlying anxiety, a fear of fading into obscurity. This internal battle was exacerbated by her dyslexia, a learning disability that went undiagnosed for much of her life and contributed to her feeling stupid in academic settings, despite her undeniable intelligence and sharp wit. This deeply rooted insecurity often manifested as a fierce self-reliance, a need to control her own destiny, but it also fueled a gnawing loneliness, a feeling of being fundamentally misunderstood even by those closest to her. Her relationships, while often public, carried a hidden emotional toll. The lingering shadow of Sonny Bono, particularly his paternalistic control and the public scrutiny of their divorce, left deep scars. She carried the weight of her past, often reflecting on the power dynamics of her early career. The tumultuous nature of her romantic life, marked by intense passions and dramatic endings, was not just tabloid fodder. It reflected a deep yearning for true connection, for someone who could truly see and appreciate the woman behind the legend. She often sought solace in relationships, only to find that the pressures of fame, combined with her own complex emotional landscape, made lasting intimacy incredibly challenging. Cher's most profound inner conflicts centered on her identity as a mother, a role she cherished above all others, yet one that brought its own unique struggles. Her relationship with her children, Chaz Bono, born Chastity Bono, and Elijah Blue Allman, was a source of immense joy but also significant challenges. Chaz's journey of gender transition, from female to male, was a deeply personal and emotionally complex period for Cher. While she ultimately embraced and supported Chaz with unwavering love, her initial struggles with understanding and accepting the transition were a raw, human experience, played out with immense bravery. She spoke openly about her initial difficulties, admitting, "It was a difficult process. I'm a mother. This is my child." This public vulnerability allowed countless parents to connect with her on a deeply personal level, showing the woman beneath the icon. Her friendships, often fiercely loyal and enduring, offered a rare glimpse into her hidden self. Her bond with designer Bob Mackie, who crafted her most iconic costumes, transcended a professional relationship. He became a confidant, a visual interpreter of her evolving persona. Similarly, her relationship with director Peter Bogdanovich, who cast her in Mask, provided a safe space for artistic exploration and personal vulnerability. These close private relationships offered solace from the relentless public eye, a place where she could drop her guard, shed her armor, and simply be Cherilyn. She cherished these connections, finding moments of genuine peace and understanding away from the clamor of celebrity. The relentless pressures of fame magnified her internal battles. The constant demand to perform, to be on, to maintain an image meant there was little room for true introspection or vulnerability. She was always under scrutiny, always expected to deliver. This pressure often led to a retreat into her own thoughts, a quiet world where she wrestled with her anxieties, her insecurities, and her relentless drive to create. She found catharsis in her music, pouring her emotions into her songs, allowing her powerful voice to express the unspoken depths of her soul. Yet, even in her greatest successes, there was an underlying current of loneliness, a quiet yearning for a simpler existence, a profound introspection that belied her flamboyant exterior. She was, in essence, a woman forever searching for equilibrium, caught between the dazzling demands of her public life and the profound solitude of her private heart. The long, illustrious career of Cherilyn Sarkeesian was never defined by a singular decline, but rather by periods of artistic ebb and flow, interspersed with personal challenges that tested her legendary resilience. Unlike many stars whose light dims irreversibly, Cher consistently found ways to reignite her flame, though not without navigating profoundly difficult passages. Her biggest professional setback came in the mid-1990s. After the triumph of her acting career in the late 80s, her music career had somewhat plateaued, and her film roles became less frequent. The changing landscape of popular music, with the rise of grunge and hip-hop, seemed to leave the goddess of pop temporarily adrift. She wasn't fading into obscurity, but she was certainly no longer at the absolute center of the cultural conversation. Then came the devastating personal tragedy that shook her to her core, the sudden, unexpected death of her first husband and longtime creative partner, Sonny Bono, in a skiing accident on January 5, 1998. Despite their tumultuous divorce decades earlier and the public airing of their grievances, their bond remained inextricably linked. Sonny's passing was a profound emotional blow, hitting Cher with the force of an unexpected wave. She delivered a raw, deeply emotional eulogy at his funeral, revealing the complex layers of love, frustration, and enduring respect that defined their relationship. "He was the most unforgettable character I've ever met," she stated, her voice choked with grief, acknowledging the man who had shaped her early life and career. This public display of vulnerability, so rarely seen from the usually guarded star, resonated deeply with millions. The immediate aftermath was a period of intense grief and reflection, forcing her to confront not only his loss, but also the very foundations of her own career, which had begun intertwined with his. It was from this crucible of grief and professional uncertainty that Cher orchestrated one of the most astonishing comebacks in music history. The album Believe, released in 1998, became a global phenomenon. Its title track, an electronic dance anthem, utilized auto-tune in a groundbreaking way, creating a distinctive vocal effect that became synonymous with the song and an instant cultural trendsetter. This wasn't just a hit, it was a defiant roar, a declaration that Cher, at 52, was still a force to be reckoned with. The song topped charts worldwide, proving her unparalleled ability to adapt, innovate, and conquer new generations of fans. This extraordinary resurgence was less about decline and more about a strategic, brilliant re-engagement with her audience. However, her later years have been marked by increasing health concerns, though never explicitly defined as a decline. Cher has openly discussed her battles with Epstein-Barr virus, chronic fatigue syndrome, which has caused severe fatigue and other debilitating symptoms. This chronic illness often forced her to slow down, to reduce her touring schedule, and to carefully manage her energy. Despite the physical toll, she consistently pushed through, demonstrating an unwavering commitment to her fans and her craft. There were no final moments in the traditional sense, as her story is one of ongoing resilience. Instead, her final major touring endeavors, like the Dressed to Kill tour and Here We Go Again tour, saw her pushing her body to its limits, delivering dazzling performances even while managing the quiet burden of chronic pain. Each show became a testament to her indomitable will, a vivid scene of a legend refusing to let age or illness dim her light. She was not declining, she was simply adapting, fiercely determined to continue doing what she loved, proving that the show indeed must go on. The announcement of Sonny Bono's death in January 1998 sent shockwaves through the entertainment world, triggering an immediate and widespread outpouring of grief. For many, his passing was not just the loss of a politician or a former pop star, but the unexpected end of half of an iconic duo that had defined a generation. The media coverage was extensive, focusing not only on his political career, but heavily on his musical legacy with Cher. News channels played clips of I Got You Babe and the Sonny Cher Comedy Hour, reminding the public of their indelible cultural impact. The initial reflections on his life were overwhelmingly positive, emphasizing his transformation from entertainer to respected public servant. The funeral service for Sonny Bono was a highly public affair, a somber gathering of Hollywood elite, political figures, and the countless fans who had adored him. Cher's appearance at the memorial service was the most poignant and widely reported moment. Dressed in black, her face etched with profound sorrow, she delivered an emotional eulogy that transcended the complexities of their past. She spoke of his unique spirit, his undeniable charm, and his pivotal role in her life. "He was my first love," she confessed, her voice cracking with emotion, her words stripping away decades of public narrative to reveal a raw, honest grief. The atmosphere was one of palpable sorrow, a collective remembrance of a man who had shaped so much of pop culture. Notable attendees included his political colleagues, music industry veterans, and their shared circle of friends, all united in their mourning. The public reaction to Sonny's death was immediate and heartfelt. Fans expressed their grief through online tributes, impromptu gatherings, and a resurgence of interest in Sonny Cher's music. Radio stations dedicated hours to their songs, and television networks aired retrospectives of their variety shows. This collective mourning was not just for Sonny, but for the end of an era, a symbolic closure to the innocent bohemian spirit they had embodied. The grief of his family was immense. His widow, Mary Bono, spoke eloquently about his dedication to public service. His children, particularly Chaz Bono, grappled with the loss of their father, a man who had guided and supported them. For Cher, his death reignited dormant emotions, forcing her to confront the profound impact he had on her life and career. It was a catalyst, a moment of deep personal reflection that, paradoxically, fueled her spectacular return to the music charts with Believe later that year. The sorrow of his passing, while deeply personal, became a shared experience for millions, a powerful reminder of the ephemeral nature of life and the enduring power of the bonds we forge. His death, in many ways, solidified his legacy and inadvertently, profoundly, extended Cher's own. The legacy of Cherilyn Sarkeesian, simply known as Cher, is not merely a collection of hit songs or acclaimed films, it is a profound testament to resilience, reinvention, and fierce individuality deeply woven into the fabric of popular culture. Her story fundamentally reshaped the entertainment industry, demonstrating an unprecedented ability to not only survive but thrive across 6 decades, defying ageism, sexism, and genre limitations. She proved that an artist could be a pop star, a rock icon, a television personality, and an Oscar-winning actress, often simultaneously, shattering the industry's traditional compartmentalization. Her influence on public consciousness is immense. She became a living symbol of female empowerment, a woman who consistently broke barriers and refused to be defined by men or societal expectations. Her bold fashion choices, particularly her collaboration with Bob Mackie, revolutionized celebrity style, injecting a theatricality and fearlessness that continues to inspire designers and performers. Lingering myths surrounding Cher often relate to her perceived plasticity or her seemingly effortless transformations. While she has been open about cosmetic procedures, the myth often overshadows the immense discipline, hard work, and genuine talent that are the true engines of her longevity. There are no grand mysteries or unanswered questions about her identity or origins, but rather a persistent fascination with how she continually manages to surprise and adapt. She embodies the ultimate survivor, a quality that resonates deeply with audiences who witness her seemingly endless capacity for reinvention. Common misconceptions include the idea that her success was solely due to Sonny Bono, or that she was merely a personality rather than a serious artist. Her post-Sonny career, particularly her acting triumphs and her Believe-era comeback, unequivocally debunk these notions, showcasing her singular talent and unwavering drive. Another misconception is that her career was a series of accidental successes. In reality, each reinvention was a strategic, often desperate gamble, fueled by an acute understanding of the entertainment landscape and an unyielding will to remain relevant. She consistently invested in herself, taking risks and pushing boundaries. Her story continues to resonate because it offers profound lessons for contemporary audiences. She teaches us about the power of self-belief, even in the face of widespread doubt and insecurity. She embodies the courage to embrace change, to shed old skins and reinvent oneself, professionally and personally, throughout life. Her journey illustrates the importance of authenticity, even when that authenticity is unconventional or challenging. She navigated heartbreak, professional setbacks, and intense public scrutiny with an often dazzling display of resilience and humor. Cher's legacy is not just about entertainment, it's about empowerment, about challenging the status quo, and about proving that true star power comes from an unbreakable spirit and an unwavering commitment to self-expression. She remains a beacon for anyone who has ever felt like an outsider, showing that by embracing your unique self, you can not only survive but soar. Her impact isn't just felt in the charts or on screen, it's felt in the quiet courage of individuals who, inspired by her, dare to be a little more themselves. And so, the stage lights, though sometimes dim, never truly extinguished for Cherilyn Sarkisian. Her extraordinary life, a vibrant tapestry woven with threads of struggle and triumph, reinvention and resilience, leaves us with a profound understanding of what it means to truly endure. She entered a world that tried to define her, to limit her, but she emerged, time and again, as her own masterpiece, a living testament to the power of unwavering self-belief. Her voice, husky and resonant, became a siren song for the disenfranchised, a rallying cry for those who dared to be different. Her story is a powerful echo of the human spirit's capacity for evolution, a testament to how adversity can forge an unshakable will. The shy, insecure girl from El Centro transformed into an unstoppable force, not by conforming, but by embracing every unique facet of her being. She taught us that beauty transcends conventional molds, that age is merely a number, and that true strength lies in the courage to remain authentically, defiantly yourself. The sequins may sparkle less brightly now, the stage may be set for the final bows, but the indelible image of Cher, a singular icon of reinvention, forever dances in the collective imagination. She leaves us with not just a legacy of hit songs and iconic roles, but a timeless lesson in survival, in the power of reinvention, and the enduring magic of a woman who simply refused to fade away. Her legend is not etched in stone, but perpetually shimmering, a dazzling, defiant presence that reminds us all to believe,